Welcome back to our channel, where today we will again delve into the complex and captivating life of one of the most beloved characters from George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire, and HBO's Game of Thrones, Tyrion Lannister. We have discussed the life of Tyrion Lannister life until the Black of Blackwater. If you haven't watched the part 1, watch it through link in description or click on icon above for video. Now starting the journey of Tyrion Lannister. After the Battle of the Blackwater, Tyrion is left with a grisly facial scar. He recovers some time later. In TV show he's treated by Maester Pycelle, but in books he's treated by Maester Franken, whom Tyrion is more familiar with. In TV show Maester Pycelle insults Tyrion, telling him, "This is your new chamber, smaller, but you don't need much room. Do you?" Pycelle also throw a golden coin at Tyrion, telling, "For your trouble." Tyrion loudly calls Podrick to and commands him to tell Varys and Bronn that he's alive and well. He learned that his father has taken all the glory and he has received no credits for defense of King's Landing. Lord Tywin has assumed his role as Hand of the King, greatly diminishing Tyrion's power. The victory at Blackwater, while celebrated by others, weighs heavily on him but had given no gratitude for it. Cersei, Varys and Shae visit Tyrion. Varys informs Tyrion that Lord Tywin sends clansmen of Vale back to Aerie with gold as promised by Tyrion and removed Bronn from the post of commander of City Watch. Varys tells Tyrion, "For some days we can't meet." Shae asks Tyrion to leave the King's Landing for sake of his own safety, but Tyrion refuses it. Tyrion, feeling he's not safe after assassination attempt on him by a King's Guard, summoned Bronn for his safety. He sent Podrick to inform his father Tywin that he wants to meet him. This leads Cersei to visit him. When visited by sister Cersei, Tyrion first don't allow her to come, but he eventually did.
Why are you here?
It was just a matter of some minutes and Bronn and King's Guard would have thought it would have been a good fighting scene to watch, but it did not happen. By this time we can more clearly see that Tyrion's family completely neglect and hate him even after putting his life on sake for they. He didn't even receive any gratitude from her sister or his nephew, who know more than anyone that it was truly Tyrion before Tywin arrived that saved his crown and city from falling either. This might explain why later in his life Tyrion betrays his own family. The dynamics within House Lannister by now become increasingly strained as Tyrion feels both resentment and betrayal from those he once trusted. After confronting about his role in defense of city and gratitude about it to his father, Tywin replies, "Juggler and singers require applause, you're a Lannister." Also about his right to Castle Rock, to which Tywin replies,
You want Castle Rock?
It is mine, by right.
We'll find you accommodations more suited to your name, and as a reward for your accomplishments during the Battle of Blackwater Bay. And when the time is right, you'll be given a position fit for your talents, so that you can serve your family and protect our legacy. And if you serve faithfully, you will be rewarded with a suitable wife. And I would let myself be consumed by maggots before mocking the family name and making you heir to Casterly Rock.
Why?
Why? You ask that? You who killed your mother to come into the world? You are an ill-made, spiteful little creature, full of envy, lust, and low cunning. Men's laws give you the right to bear my name and display my colors, since I cannot prove that you are not mine. And teach me humility, the gods have condemned me to watch you waddle about, wearing that proud lion that was my father's sigil and his father's before him. But neither gods nor men will ever compel me to let you turn Casterly Rock into your whorehouse. Go now. Speak no more of your rights to Casterly Rock. Go. Oh, one more thing. The next whore I cut in your bed, I'll hang.
He is invited to small council by his father, which now take place in Chamber of Hands, whereby getting no information of Jaime Lannister, Tywin scolds Varys and tell him to try harder. Varys informs that Rose Bolton holds Harrenhal, which makes him Lord of Harrenhal. To tease Littlefinger, Tywin replies it does not matter much. He directs Lord Peter Baelish to go Vale and marry Lisa Arryn, and in practice become Lord Regent of Vale. Tyrion Argus.
True love. But Lord Baelish's absence would present certain problems. The royal wedding may end up being the most expensive event in living memory. Summer has ended, hard days lie ahead. Not a good time to leave the crown's finances unattended.
Fully agreed.
He is eventually named Master of Coin as Lord Peter Baelish's replacement by his father as reward or accommodation promised to him. He takes the books needed for managing the realm's gold. Also send Podrick Payne to enjoy pleasure of best girls in Lord Peter Baelish, but Tyrion and Bronn surprise he returned with Tyrion gold as girl refused to take it. Then Tyrion and Bronn tell Podrick to tell very copious details. Tyrion is stressed as realm owned millions of gold to Iron Bank of Bravos, which needed to repay at any cost, as if they don't, Iron Bank of Bravos is notorious as saying goes. The Iron Bank will have its due. Tyrion explains to Bronn when he argues what happens when due to Iron Bank is not paid. Iron Bank starts supporting rebels, who then mostly come to power as support of Bravos, then respect the due of Iron Bank. Varys invites Tyrion, his friend, to tell him how he was castrated and how he is taking revenge on that sorcerer.
The sorcerer.
Hello, my old friend. It's been a long time. I have no doubt the revenge you want will be yours in time.
As Tyrion is concerned about huge expenses of royal wedding, which will be very difficult to manage, his crown is also at war. He arranges a meeting with Olenna Tyrell.
Oh, very well. I won't have it said the House Tyrell refuses to play its part. We'll pay for half the expenses, and the celebrations will go on as planned.
Tywin Lannister summons Tyrion, and Cersei tells them Tyrell are plotting to marry Sansa to Loras Tyrell, as Sansa will be becoming key to the north. In the books it is Willas Tyrell whom Sansa was plotted to get married, not Loras. To counter it, Tyrion will marry Sansa soon, which Tyrion don't agree, but eventually he has to. Tywin forces him to. Tywin also forces Cersei to marry Loras, which she also declines, but she has to also accept it.
Impossible.
Tywin then talks about marriage match of Cersei and Willas Tyrell in books to Olenna, and in TV show Willas' storyline is just replaced by Loras Tyrell, which is quite disappointing. Olenna tells that Cersei might not be able to bore children's, and about rumor of incest of Cersei and Jaime.
Of the king.
In the last she only agrees when Tywin threatened to name Willas Tyrell to King's Guard.
If you refuse to marry Loras to Cersei, I will name him to the King's Guard. I'm sure you're familiar with the King's Guard's vows. He will never marry. He will never have children. The Tyrell name will fade. And High Garden will go to the children of Joffrey and Margaery.
You would have your grandson protected by someone who disgusts you.
I would have my grandson protected by a skilled warrior who takes his vows seriously. So, shall I draw up the order? Or do you consent to this match?
It's a rare enough thing. A man who lives up to his reputation.
Tyrion confronts Cersei about Asya's Satan attempt on him by Kingsguard. There he learns it was given by Joffrey, not Cersei. Tyrion talks to Sansa about marriage, which is soon known to Shae. Shae is furious about the marriage as Tyrion told her he will one day marry her, and tension begins between both. Tyrion tried to send her away with chains of solid gold to Pentos to safety, as if Tywin knew about her and Tyrion relationship he will surely execute Shae, but Shae refuses to leave. Before the marriage, Tyrion promises Sansa that he will never hurt him and always protest at him. Joffrey takes Sansa to the wedding and he humiliates Tyrion by ordering him to use a stool to cloak Sansa, mocking his uncle's stature in books where in show he takes the stool away, which humiliates Tyrion even more. Joffrey taunts and threats during the wedding feast further demonstrate his sadism. He chillingly informs Sansa that he plans to assault her after the wedding night. Meanwhile, Tyrion drinks up and clean himself with tablecloth, humiliating himself and Tywin. Joffrey wanted to take advantage of Sansa in bedding ceremony. Bedding ceremony involves the newlywed couple being carried to their marital bed by guests, often amidst much laughter and bawdy jokes. Typically, guests undress the bride and groom along the way, making lewd comments. Tyrion knows this, so he does not allow a bedding ceremony, and when Joffrey as king orders. When Joffrey insists as king, Tyrion replies,
"Be if I command it."
Then you'll be fucking your own bride with a wooden cock.
This threat will make great consequence to Tyrion after some time. Tyrion does not consummate the marriage, saying he will not touch her unless she wanted him it. His father pushes him to consummate the marriage with Sansa for good of House Lannister, but Tyrion never does, a decision which earned him scorn and jest in court. Tyrion's marriage brings him no joy. Throughout their brief marriage, Tyrion's treatment of Sansa is notably different from that of Joffrey. Sansa recognizes Tyrion as the best of them, implying that he is a better man than many others she has encountered, including the cruel Joffrey and later Ramsay Bolton. Sansa had started becoming joyous with Tyrion, but this joy will not last long as his brother Robb and mother is slayed in horrible Red Wedding. Tyrion is called to small council for informing him about Red Wedding. Joffrey looks amazed by the news and instructs Grand Maester Pycelle to send Raven to Frey, thanking them for their service, and send Robb Stark head that he will give to Sansa in his wedding. Tyrion immediately defends Sansa Stark when Joffrey mentions his plan, threatening Joffrey to protect her from his cruelty.
Oh, I'm a monster. Perhaps you should speak to me more softly then. Monsters are dangerous, and just now kings are dying like flies.
This scene underscores Tyrion's growing moral complexity and his protective instincts towards Sansa, contrasting sharply with Joffrey's sadism and showing no respect towards Joffrey. By now Tyrion has slapped Joffrey once, threatened to kill him 3 times in front of many witnesses in King's Landing. As Tyrion has placed Shae in service to Sansa for her protection, Shae has become increasingly envious and angry with Tyrion, although she is pleased that he has not yet consummated their marriage. Tyrion is anxious that Sansa and others will soon uncover his secret, which could lead to his father executing her. Therefore, he sends her away to Pentos just before Joffrey's wedding, along with a chain of solid gold and other valuables. During the wedding ceremony between Joffrey Baratheon and Margaery Tyrell, Tyrion, being slightly intoxicated, observes the wedding along with Sansa. In wedding feast, Joffrey brings play of War of 5 Kings by dwarfs, which mocks the other 4 kings: Renly Baratheon, Stannis Baratheon, Robb Stark and Balon Greyjoy, which offends Loras Tyrell on mockery of Renly Baratheon, which leaves immediately Margaery being also offended, as she was married to Renly Baratheon but cannot show displeasure, and Joffrey act brings Sansa to tears. While Joffrey and Cersei take enjoyment of joust part, Curly Cersei take enjoyment of Margaery. Despite being seated away from other Lannister in wedding feast, Tyrion is drawn into events when Joffrey asks Tyrion after to participate in mock joust of dwarf performers, which Tyrion refuses and instead asks Joffrey to show his bravery to realm by participating and winning.
Combat was enough for me, Your Grace. I would like to keep what remains of my face. I think you should fight him. This was but a poor imitation of your own bravery on the field of battle. I speak as a first-hand witness. Climb down from the high table with your new Valyrian sword, and show everyone how a true king wins his throne. Be careful, though. This one is clearly mad with lust. It would be a tragedy for the king to lose his virtue hours before his wedding night.
This angered Joffrey and he poured a goblet of wine over Tyrion's head and Tyrion says, "Fine vintage, shame that it's spilled," and Joffrey replies, "It's no spilled." Marjorie tries to divert Joffrey's attention as his father's toast or wedding cake has arrived, but Joffrey asks his uncle to his cupbearer, which Tyrion takes as honor, but Joffrey intends to insult him. After Joffrey cuts the wedding cake and eat it, he started choking, leading to collapse and death. Joffrey points finger at Tyrion before dying. That leads to Cersei and others believe that Tyrion was beyond assignation of Joffrey. This lead to Cersei believe it was Tyrion, as he has threatened her and Joffrey multiple times, and she shouts to arrest of Tyrion, and meanwhile Sansa vanishes from King's Landing by Dantos hollered on orders of Lord Petter Baelish, which puts more evidence that it was Sansa and Tyrion that assassinated Joffrey. Tyrion declares he is innocent, and though he admits he hated Joffrey, the boy was still his family, and so Tyrion would have never actually harmed him. Tyrion is imprisoned in Tower Cell of Red Keep, where he tries to prepare for the trial and summon witnesses that could help his case, which bring no help to him. Tyrion is visited in Goodwill by only Jaime and his squire Podrick Payne. Podrick Payne informs him that people approached him and tried to bribe him to confess against Tyrion in trial. Tyrion tells Podrick to bring Jaime. Tyrion asks Jaime to see after safekeeping of Podrick. The court assembles, and Tyrion is brought forward in manacles. King Tommen recuses himself and appoints Hand of the King Tywin to oversee the trial in his place. The other presiding judges are Mace Tyrell and a Baron Martell. Tywin asks Tyrion to admit if he killed King Joffrey. Tyrion denies the charge, and also denies any knowledge of Sansa's involvement. When asked for his opinion on the cause of Joffrey's death, he blames the pigeon pie. During the trial, numerous witnesses are presented and each testimony condemns him further. Esser Meryn Trant confesses that Tyrion slapped King Joffrey and called him vicious idiot during the riots of King's Landing. Varys confesses about Tyrion threat in Small Council, where news of Red Wedding was brought, where he warned Joffrey to be wary around monsters because just now kings are dying like flies, where Joffrey tells Tyrion monster. Grand Maester Pycelle wrongly confesses that Tyrion stole the poisons from his laboratory after he imprisoned him. In the books, Cersei also brings Esser Osmond Kettleblack to the stand, who lies that Joffrey believed Tyrion meant to murder him. Cersei herself tells the court that Tyrion threat to her, "I will hurt you for this. A day will come when you think you are safe and happy, and suddenly your joy will turn to ashes in your mouth. And you will know the debt is paid." A Baron Martell, clearly questioning the truth in Cersei's statement, asks her what debt Tyrion meant, an alternate way of asking Cersei how she hurt Tyrion in the first place, and Cersei responds that she discovered Tyrion was keeping whores in the Tower of the Hand and she asked him to stop, when in reality she spitefully had the Kingsguard beat up and imprison Roose, whom she incorrectly believed to be Tyrion's lover. She also speaks of Tyrion's plans to place Joffrey at risk near the fighting during the Battle of the Blackwater, although she says Joffrey bravely insisted on being at the front to inspire his troops, which was clearly a lie, as Cersei ordered Joffrey to be removed front the lines, and Joffrey, like a cowardly boy, readily acquiesced and ironically leaving it to Tyrion. At the recess, Jaime confronts Tywin, calling the trail a farce entirely manipulated by Cersei, and says that Tywin is about to condemn his own son to death. Tywin denies any involvement in manipulating the trial in Cersei's favor, but is blasted by Jaime, who claims that even if Tyrion did kill Joffrey, he himself did the same to the Mad King, which ironically saved Tywin's life. Jaime brokers a deal with his father. If Tywin agrees to let Tyrion live, Jaime will renounce his Kingsguard vows, reclaim his place as Tywin's heir, take up his seat at Castle Rock, marry a suitable wife, and have children, all to continue Tywin's legacy as Tywin had initially intended. Tywin immediately accepts and once again accepts Jaime as his son, but on the condition that Tyrion pled for mercy once proven guilty, upon which Tywin will allow Tyrion to leave King's Landing and join the Night's Watch. Jaime speaks with Tyrion just before the trial resumes and informs him of their father's offer. Tyrion is understandably not convinced, reminding Jaime that Eddard Stark was offered the same deal and was executed nevertheless, but Jaime promises that Tywin will not commit such a treasonous act like Joffrey did. He tells Jaime that this is what Tywin always wanted, that Tyrion goes away from him to never return and Jaime takes seat as his heir. He pleads with Tyrion just to stay calm and refrain from getting angry again in order for the deal to stand. As he leaves, Tyrion does appear to consider this option until to Tyrion's biggest surprise Cersei last witnesses Shae, which ultimately brings Tyrion to tears, resentment and anger at the same time that his love has betrayed him.
Shae. Please don't.
I am a whore. Remember? That was before he married Sansa. After that, all he wanted was her. But she wouldn't let him in her bed. So he promised to kill King Joffrey for her.
Father, I wish to confess. I wish to confess.
You wish to confess?
I saved you. I saved this city and all your worthless lives. I should have let Stannis kill you all.
Tyrion! Do you wish to confess?
Yes, Father. I'm guilty. Guilty? Is that what you want to hear?
You admit you poisoned the king?
No. Of that I'm innocent. I'm guilty of a far more monstrous crime. I'm guilty of being a dwarf.
You're not on trial for being a dwarf.
Oh, yes I am. I've been on trial for that my entire life.
Have you nothing to say in your defense?
Nothing but this. I did not do it. I did not kill Joffrey, but I wish that I had. Watching your vicious bastard die gave me more relief than 1,000 lying whores. I wish I was the monster you think I am. I wish I had enough poison for the whole pack of you. I would gladly give my life to watch you all swallow it.
Sir Meryn! Sir Meryn! Escort the prisoner back to his cell.
I will not give my life for Joffrey's murder, and I know I'll get no justice here, so I will let the gods decide my fate. I demand a trial by combat.
This scene is one of the most iconic scenes in the Game of Thrones series. For his brilliant performance, Peter Dinklage also won Primetime Emmy Award. In the books, the scene is quite similar. Shae tells the assembled court that she was an innocent girl before Tyrion abused her and turned her into his whore. When Shae lies how Tyrion made her call him Giant of Lannister, the public starts to laugh. Furiously, Tyrion tells them to take Shae away and let him confess. Instead, he demands a trial by battle. In the show, it is not shown that Cersei insists on trial by combat in the court where her champion was formidable Ser Clegane. When Mace Tyrell asks Tyrion who his champion is, To the consternation of the court, it is Aberon Martell, another judge. This makes Tywin angry, but grants Tyrion's request and set date for the battle next morrow. Where in the show Tyrion first asks Bronn to fight his trial by combat, but Bronn denies to fight against Gregor Clegane as his sister Cersei has generously rewarded him in so many ways. Tyrion becomes hopeless as his brother Jaime would not been allowed to fight, and even if fought with one hand, Jaime has no chance against Gregor Clegane the Mountain. But this hopelessness won't last long as Prince Aberon Martell visits Tyrion's cell and offers to serve as his champion. In books, Aberon and Tyrion had talks for few minutes before the trial, which in show the conversion is covered in Tyrion's cell when Aberon visits him. In show there is Aberon tells Tyrion a story that how he first time met Cersei and Jaime during they visit to Castle Rock.
We didn't try to hide our disappointment. That's not a monster, I told Cersei. That's just a baby. And she said he killed my mother. And she pinched your little cock so hard I thought she might pull it off until your brother made her stop. It doesn't matter, she told us. Everyone says he will die soon. I hope they are right.
This was a sad story of Aberon which brings Tyrion to tears. Aberon tells Tyrion that he will be his champion and thinks his mother and Tyrion's mother were friends and were planning on marrying Jaime to Elia and or Cersei to Aberon. When they arrived at Castle Rock, Joanna had died and Tywin refused both suggestions and said that Cersei was intended for Prince Rhaegar Targaryen. Later Elia married Prince Rhaegar. Aberon thinks that this is why Tywin had Elia killed. Aberon proclaims that today he will have justice for Elia and her children. Before the trial began, Tyrion asks Aberon to at least wear a helmet that Aberon refuses. The combat is held in Outer Ward. As soon as fight begins, Aberon starts to accuse Gregor of Elia's rape and murder. By using a spear as his weapon, Aberon has the advantage of being able to reach his enemy, and because he is only lightly armored, he is fast enough to remain out of Gregor's reach. Aberon manages to wound his enemy severely, disarming him and knocking him onto the ground, which is same in books and show. Before Aberon can finish his opponent, Gregor grabs Aberon by the leg and drags him down. With his bare hands, Gregor smashes Aberon's teeth, crushes his head, and kills him, all while admitting to the murder and rape of Elia and the murder of her children. Tyrion realizes that he is condemned when the gold cloaks take him to the black cells. Aberon condemns Tyrion to black cells and death, but the night before he is executed, he is freed from his prison by his brother Jaime with the assistance of Varys, who is take Tyrion to free cities. Jaime and Tyrion don't have much talk like in books, they just have a farewell. In the books it is very detailed chapter and we can exactly learn why Tyrion killed his own father. It starts as Jaime tells him that the rescue was a debt he owed him. Tyrion presses his brother, and learns that Tysha was not a whore, but a crofter's daughter, just as she appeared. Lord Tywin had forced Jaime all those years ago to lie about Tysha so as to teach Tyrion a lesson. Tyrion is infuriated that his brother never told him the truth, and punches Jaime in the face. Jaime in show would have surely punched him back and more, but in books he did not then. Tyrion warns him that he will exact revenge against him, their father, and Cersei, as a Lannister always pays his debts. Jaime then asks if Tyrion poisoned Joffrey and, lying in his anger, Tyrion admits to doing so. He also tells Jaime that Cersei is sleeping with Lancel and Esser Osmond and perhaps others, and that Joffrey would have been a monster worse than Aerys if he remained king. Tyrion stalks off without a further word, and confronts Varys for his betrayal. The eunuch concedes that he cannot find a trace of Sansa, then leads him deeper down, to the 4th level where Maegor had built torture chambers. In the books, Jaime reveals to Tyrion that Tysha had not been a prostitute. She genuinely loved Tyrion, and Tywin forced Jaime to lie about it. Furious, Tyrion swears retribution on Jaime, Cersei and Tywin. He torments Jaime by revealing Cersei's affairs and falsely confesses to killing Joffrey. While following Varys, Tyrion recognizes a secret tunnel to Tower of Hand. He asks Varys for direction to Varys and climbs up to Tywin's chamber. There he finds Shae in Tywin beds. He strangles her and confronts his father about Tysha in lavatory with Crossbow, whom Tywin remembers as Tyrion's first whore. Tyrion warns to not call her whore again and demand to know what happened to her. When Tywin replies she went, wherever whores go, Tyrion slays his father in fury with Crossbow.
stop me. You're no son of mine.
I am your son. I have always been your son.
When they come to a circular tower chamber with a ladder leading up, Tyrion realizes it leads up to the Tower of the Hand. Commanding Varys to wait for him, Tyrion ascends the wickedly high ladder. It leads to a secret passage behind the rooms in the tower, perfect for Varys, little birds, to overhear everything going on in the Hand's quarters. He opens the secret door to his old chamber, and finds Shae naked in his father's bed, with the Hand's chain of office around her neck. The whore pleads that the queen made her say all those things against him in court, but Tyrion strangles her with the chain he once wore. Grabbing a crossbow off the wall, he finds his father in the privy. Tywin commands him to put down the crossbow, promising that he had no intention of carrying out the sentence, and would allow Tyrion to take the black. Disbelieving his father, Tyrion questions him as to what became of Tysha. Lord Tywin reveals he did not have her killed, and doesn't know exactly what became of her. Tywin says he supposed the steward sent the whore on her way. Tyrion then asks where the steward might have sent her, and Lord Tywin replies, wherever whores go. Tyrion fires the crossbow, sending the bolt into his father's pelvis, killing Lord Tywin. This is what happened in books, where in show Jaime didn't tell Tyrion anything about Tysha, and Varys didn't lead Tyrion in tunnels. Tyrion just recognizes the secret way to Tower of Hand and finds Shae in bed. He strangled her, and when Tyrion confronts his father, Tyrion kills his father because he knew that he wanted to kill him, and perhaps also because of Shae. Tyrion flees across narrow sea, pondering his options and considering himself a kinslayer. In books Tyrion flees alone, but in show Varys flees with him. From now, great differences between books and show start to arrive. We will only look deeply into book counterpart because they're better than show. Cersei offers a lordship to anyone who brings her the vanished Tyrion. Her bounty results in the killing of a number of innocent dwarfs and children. Cersei refuses to publicly punish anyone who does so, for fear it will discourage other such bounty hunters and allow Tyrion to escape. Feeling abandoned by Tyrion, an anguished Podrick Payne, Tyrion's squire, joins Brienne of Tarth in search of Tyrion's wife, Sansa Stark, where in show he's made to join Brienne and send off by Tyrion. Tyrion arrives drunk and despondent at manse of Magister Illyrio Mopatis in Pentos. There Illyrio tells Tyrion of Daenerys Targaryen and her 3 dragons. Tyrion decides to offer his service to her, and he makes the journey in the company of tall taciturn knight Griff and his son young Griff. During the trip, Griff forces Tyrion into recuperation from his increasingly heavy drinking. The companions plan to meet Daenerys in Volantis to strengthen her cause. Tyrion takes note of the care with which young Griff is tutored, as well as his coloring, and deduces that the boy is actually Aegon Targaryen, long believed dead son of Prince Rhaegar Targaryen and Elia of Drone, who was rescued from Sack of King's Landing by Varys. His father, Griff, is actually Lord Jon Connington of Griffin's Roost. Tyrion suggests young Griff aka Aegon Targaryen invade Westeros immediately without Daenerys, but soon after both is ambushed by stone men in Croydon. Jon rescues Tyrion from Roy. Whilst at the town of Selhoris, Tyrion, under the direction of Haldon, plays a game of Sivas with Cavo Nogaries, a customs official, to gain information. Esser Jorah Mormont kidnaps Tyrion in a brothel, hopes of regaining favor with Daenerys, brings Tyrion to Volantis and takes him to Widow of the Waterfront at Volantis to try and arrange passage out of Volantis. There Tyrion meets a female dwarf performer named Penny, who, upon learning that Tyrion was indirectly responsible for her brother Oppo's death, tries to kill him. Penny joins the pair as they travel to Marine by sea aboard the Selaesori Corin, where the crew take to calling him No-Nose, to reach Daenerys. On the ship, Penny eventually befriends Tyrion. Unfortunately, the Selaesori Corin, the ship Jorah Mormont hires taking them to Volantis, is waylaid by slavers, and Tyrion, Jorah and Penny are captured Yunkai slaver and bought by Yazan Zokagas. They are instructed by his overseer, Nurse, on how to treat their new master. Tyrion and Penny are forced to sold at markets in the shadow of Meereen, claiming to be an entertainment act. From there, Tyrion and Penny are forced to perform a mock joust in fighting pits of Meereen, not knowing at the end of show they will be eaten by lions. Daenerys Targaryen, for whom show was staged, learns fate and stops the lion from being released. After they new master dies of the bloody flux is name given to dysentery diseases in Essos, in which the trio escapes. Tyrion arranges Tree to join Asel's word company, the Second Sons, under the command Brown Ben Plum, by promising wealth of Casterly Rock. While the Second Son's current contract is to fight Daenerys, Tyrion hoped to win them to her side. These is the story far. In the books we will now be discussing the show counterpart that we will discuss in another video.